which we have problems with. You still can't believe that it's an offense to have your vehicle tinted, for one to have his vehicle tinted beyond a certain level, because they're all over the place. They're all over the place. And you wonder exactly what is going on. I have begun to see, I must admit, more motorcyclists clad in their helmets. Once upon a time, I hardly saw any. In fact, when I came back here from Cuba, April, during the times when motorcycles were allowed on the road, in other words, when there were no lockdown, I hardly saw anyone riding a motorbike done in a helmet. Now I'm seeing quite a few wearing their helmets, but if it is in fact a law that one should not ride a motorbike without a helmet, where you're not allowed to drive a car without a driver's license or permit, if that is in fact the case, why are we still having so many of them? And don't talk about riding across Keon Street in front of the police station itself. They park up, they do all their things in front, in the presence of police officers in uniform, with books in their hands and weapons on their waist, and nothing is done. You really wonder what's going on there, and so forth. The caller, the last caller, I think it was, no, the last caller but one, suggested that the White Gate, we need to remove all those unsightly overgrowth, vegetative overgrowth, all those unsightly weeds in the area, and put it to good, useful agricultural purpose. Who can dispute that? No one. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Blake.
To you.
Hello?
Yes, good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes. You mentioned a while ago about, people breaking into people's house, and, that is really bad and stuff like that.
Yes.
But what even make it worse, Mr. Blake, they had a weapon, especially when you break into people's house with a weapon. If you tell me you're going to break into somebody's house with a weapon...
That suggests murderous intent.
Yeah, you have some kind of intention, some kind of intent. It's not just to go to take up something.
Yeah.
You're also saying, hey, if that person, that homeowner confronts me.
Not confront me, if that homeowner chooses to defend his property, his own property.
Yeah. Well, that is true. Defend his property.
Yeah.
And not only his property, his person.
Right.
And his family members.
Right.
If they're family members.
That he'll be shot dead in his own house.
Yeah. You ain't gonna tell me that you're gonna just tell him, oh, good night or good day, and turn back.
Exactly.
But at the same time too, we're hearing too, if you defend yourself, you could be charged, and maybe somebody gonna say that you take the law in your hand.
Yeah, well,
you take the law in your hand, and maybe something you might end up across in the prison.
Charles Dickens has an explanation for that. He says if the law really permits that for a homeowner to be charged because he inflicts injury on someone who is inside his house attempting to rob him and harm him, if the law really allows that, then the law is a donkey.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because
the asininity of the law.
This is on the joke side. If the law is there, if I take the law in me, and I mean that the law is present when the crime is being committed, or I am defending myself. So the law should not have to allow me to take it in my hand to defend me, to say that I took the law in my hand. The law should have defend me then and there then.
Exactly.
It's just a jokey part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, man, I agree that that definitely sounds asinine. If I am in my own property, which I am have spent lots of years and hundreds of thousands of dollars to build and maintain and sustain, and I'm still doing that, by the way, right? And a fellow breaks into my house and I defend myself and harm him, I'm going to be charged? I mean, come on now. Good morning, caller.
Yes, man. I had to come back here, man. Now, Mr. Blake, you see the part of the law that they need to try in a furnace, burn it up and throw the ashes in the sea. Because you can tell me, just like what you say, everybody work for what they want, to get what they want, and you cannot lie down in your own property in peace. A man come in your house with a gun, he come in to thief, kill and destroy. And if you chop him up, they're going to tell you use too much force. When you have too much force in your own place, that ain't a law. And I could tell anybody, anyone you catch any thief invaders in your house, you ain't give them no key. They help you pay no rent, and you catch them if you get the upper hand, do what you got to do with them. And any lock you up and talk about you use too much force, the whole nation going down against that courthouse, that judge, whoever it is. Go down upon him. I remember down Trafalgar, a thief went in a rum shop, a friend of mine, climbed up on the man window landing, went in, and he got, what he had in hand? He had a knife. Tell the man, come, give me the bag with the money. The owner tell me, he tell the thief, man, you're so stupid. Look, he just passed the money up on the ledge. And as he turned on the field, the owner take up a hammer and nailing him some licks until he jumped through the window. And when he jumped through, the owner jumped to behind him and banging him in the street. The owner say he used too much force. Too much force, that is stupidness. And I hope them, they who like to go in court, go defend them kind of people and talk about, well, the man never really went in, go do this and do that. I hope I get some conscience and listen to these things here. Because people ain't supposed to be going through that. Just the trauma alone could kill you for life. All of them got a gun? Where they going? Iraq? Okay, Mr. Blake, see you.
All right. Okay, let's take this other caller. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Blake again.
Yes.
Carl Wong here. Mr. Blake, also, the law gives you the right to defend your property and family. Right?
Uh-huh.
And if the law gives you the right to defend your family and property, there should not be nothing named excessive force, because providing you leave the government street and enter my premises, you already broke the law. You already committed a lot of things against the law. And then to enter the home, however you get in the home, and to meet families in there doing whatever they're supposed to do in the home, and the families defend themselves and cause the thief or thieves death or serious harm, the law should thank that homeowner, not arrest them. Because right there and then, the homeowner used what the law gave to them, and that right is to defend your family and property, and that's what the homeowner do. So the homeowner now should charge those thief or thief in respect of breaking the law by entering the homeowner's home. And one other thing, Mr. Blake, in the days of midwife, I understand there used to be a nurse named Nurse Raji from Middle Island. And those are the days when there was just a few, very, very, very few, you know, those ugly telephones we used to have. Only a few people had them. And this midwife, Rajik, didn't have no telephone. So the boyfriends and husbands and family members used to go all the way down to Middle Island and call Miss Rajik to come and to deliver the babies in the home. And she reached all the way up as far as Challengers and those kind of places, and back down past Middle Island and so. And I am told that is walk. She used to walk with she bags, and she needs supplies to deliver those babies as a midwife. I hope somebody can clarify this, and maybe one day somebody can recognize this lady for her sterling contribution of delivering many children to this country.
Yeah, well, you know,
and those are the people who are deserving of recognition for sterling contribution. No vehicle, they said she walked and she came and she delivered many babies.
you know, there was
Mr. Blake.
all right, thank you, but there was a time when hardly anyone was born in the hospital. I mean, I was not born in the hospital. None of my brothers or sisters was born in the hospital. And I have 9 sisters and 7 brothers, and not one of us was born in a hospital. Those were the days when midwives were the order of the day. They were the name of the game. All right, and so not only Nurse Rodriguez who Carl is referring to, but others, because I heard my mother speak so often about Nurse Hendrickson and others like that. So we really need to honor those persons who would have done that kind of service way back then, because if they had to foot it to the various homes and houses and villages, that really was a labor of love. But definitely there were times when, unlike now, when every man jack is born in hospital, when the vast majority of us were born at home. Alright, and it is said, by the way, that persons so born tended to be healthier and stronger than those born in hospital, because we know that the hospital itself, very often around the world, hospital themselves are sources of infections and sicknesses and diseases and death even. Okay, so we need to bear that in mind. Alright, so there are a number of issues which the folks are commenting on, but what we're going to do now, we're going to take a station break, and we'll come right back after a minute or so.
ZIZ Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world.
Poinciana Restaurant on the Frigate Bay Road opens daily at 11 a.m. to serve you lunch and dinner. Whether you desire to dine in or take out, Poinciana Restaurant offers both to serve you better. Call Poinciana Restaurant at 465-5216 for your lunch or dinner takeout and reservations.
The summer is on, and now is the time to get an AC unit installed in your office or home. Look no further than top-class AC and refrigeration services. St. Kitts' #1 outlet for air conditioning installation and refrigeration spare parts sales. And if you come today, you get a 10% discount on the purchase of portable AC units. Top Glass also offers AC mold removal and remediation and auto AC repairs and servicing. Inquire today, 660-9889, 663-5314, or email topclassacworks@gmail.com. You can also visit the store at the corner of Keon Street and Shaw Avenue, Bastyr. Top Class AC and Refrigeration Services.
To avoid getting the coronavirus, remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups. Also, avoid sharing cutlery, cups, glassware, etc. with others. Viruses can linger on these items and may be transferred this way. Avoid shaking and holding hands, and hugging or keeping an infected person in close proximity. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency.
Come to Sun Pharmacy for all your prescription medication and healthcare supplies. 2 convenient locations, Keon Street next to the Chinese supermarket and in the food court at Port Zante. Sun Pharmacy, we care about your health. Telephone 466-1074 or 466-1077. Sun Pharmacy, your pharmacy. Sun Pharmacy accepts all bank cards and medical insurance plans from Nagico Insurance, Sagico Insurance, and National Caribbean Insurance.
Why you look so unhappy? And why your car light so yellow? And your paint so dull?
Boy, Ruckus, to be honest, right? Me car in a bad state, you know. And I realize, but I ain't even know where to go. I will want my car look and feel brand new again. Give me that good up feeling, you know what I mean?
Well, look no further, me boy. Double the services after detailing could get your lights bright as ever and buff your car like brand new. I wanna say brand new, I mean brand new. The man hard, I tell you. You just got to wear shades after he finished with your vehicle because it thing's so bright.
Well. That sounds excellent, Jed. Give me your number and location, you see? Let me book an appointment.
Double the Services is located at Limefield Project in the village, Bastyr, St. Kitts. You can contact them at 763-9362. You can also locate them on Facebook, Google, and Instagram. Double D Services, perfection in the details.
Okay. Thank you very much, and we thank those persons who are advertising their services, because some of us definitely would like to capitalize on on what they offer. We have a caller. Let's take him or her.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Where's he gone? Oh boy, what a shame. Okay, let's take another one. Hello? Hello? Okay, we're having some difficulty there. Now, I just want to point out a correction here. One person called and suggested that the names of the awardees are released to the media houses before the rest of us learn about them. That is not necessarily the case. The names are not known until the Prime Minister announces them, normally on National Heroes Day. So we need to be aware of that. But the suggestion is that since the selection is made before that day, they could in fact be released, and then they have the interview. But for the time being, the names are not known to the media houses until the Prime Minister announces them. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Hello, Brother Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Brother, if you never say how many children your mother got, I would have thought it's only 4 your mother got. Because the 4 that I know, for how young your mother was looking still before she passed away, I would not even believe your mother had 6. So
well,
kudos to your mother.
Very well, thank you.
You got young looking genes.
So be it.
Now I'm going to use 2 big words from my grandmother. My grandmother used to say, well, me boy, that there was worse than what happened yesterday, and he wrong than what happened yesterday. Now, some of these house invaders, they're so daring when they come in your house. They see the husband and the wife asleep, they will tie up the husband and rape the wife and tell the husband watch. And doing the wife all kind of stupidness. And then you're going to tell me if the husband get away and he get the upper hand of that individual in there, they're going to lock up the husband? Well, don't know, man. They ain't going to work, you know. Not this time, yeah. Or because whosoever going to punish the homeowner, I could tell them, got a game, say, who don't know the rule, lie down there. So I'll have to say, let them walk out the algebra from that. Thank you, Brother Blake.
All right. I want to believe that persons who, in fact, inflict injury, if not death, on home invaders, in times like these, you know, I don't know. I'm not even sure they should go to the motion of being formally arrested just for the record. I want to hope and think that in these days that even that will not be pursued, that line of action. All right. Now, we have a caller. Let's take him or her. Hello? Hello? Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Blake.
Good morning, sir.
The situation is that it's not really the lie, you know. It's the DPP, because he could decide, hey, look, this is justifiable.
No, that would be after the police would have that would be after the police would have taken action. The police takes action almost immediately.
No, but no. The police will do what they have to do. That's their job. I'm talking about prosecution. Remember, the police do not prosecute those kind of cases. They have to go to the DPP. And he decided, well, look, this is justifiable. I'm not going to prosecute because it's unfair that you go through all this trauma, then they turn around and try you. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
No, but what we are saying is that the homeowner is arrested. The offense occurs on the 1st. The homeowner is arrested on the 1st, and the process might not reach the DPP until the 10th or the 20th or the 1st of the next month. All the time the homeowner is arrested. What the callers are suggesting, and I support, is that the homeowner should not be arrested in the first place.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but to be traumatized and then you get traumatized again with the court,
exactly.
That's not fair.
Double jeopardy, as it were.
Yeah. Okay, man.
But yeah, you're right. It's the DPP who makes the final decision as to whether a case is prosecutable, quote unquote. But we are saying that in the interim, because sometimes that takes a long time, that process before it gets to the DPP's decision takes a long time. In the interim, the homeowner is arrested. He might be released on bail because we are certain the police will not object to bail. But we are suggesting that some would argue maybe due process has to be followed, but when the case is clear, so clear that even the blind could see that the homeowner is on his turf, in his house, in his bedroom, if you please, and that this criminal intruder was intent on causing problems, or did in fact cause some problems, we are suggesting that the homeowner should not be arrested at all. And then those kinds of measures should be in place. Okay, so we would like to see what kinds of things should we do as a people to improve our lot, not just economically, you know, so we can boast about PCIs and GDPs and GNPs and HDIs and so on. How do we improve our day-to-day living and existence? And these are some of the things that we are discussing here. All right. We always talk about doing things that encourage the younger generation to want to do well, to deviate from sociopathic behaviors, and to tread the straight and narrow. And we're suggesting that if we interview the awardees and they tell their story, how they rose from obscurity to prominence, how they were able to overcome difficulties, how very many of them would not have been born with a silver spoon in their mouths, so to speak. They would have faced some really difficult and trying circumstances. The vagaries and vicissitudes of life would have struck them full force, frontally, and they were able to surmount and surpass. Then we believe that younger persons would be encouraged to emulate them to a large extent. So that's what we're saying. And then one caller is suggesting that we go further, recognizing individuals that we inscribe them in a National Hall of Fame. All right? That too would serve an animating, educative, edifying purpose. Okay? That's what we're saying. Now we're getting close to winding down, but we're going to take this caller. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Blake again.
Yes.
You know, two gentlemen here in Pinkett, right? I don't know if they have ever been recognized, but from the time, you know, I was a little boy coming up, and I done in the mid half century area, right? You've been hearing about, you know, you heard about them, then you see as you get older, because from the country, you see these two children till about maybe a few years ago or back when they decide to call it quits. You know, and some of them, they think they're still doing their own individual thing. Barker and Kelly. Right? And, you know, I have these two gentlemen would have stayed together, build a successful
business enterprise.
You know, and I haven't seen any other petition, you know, that I know of, you know, would have stayed together, maybe other people joining together and do what these two guys or two gentlemen would have done.
I'll tell you what, these guys have often been regarded as if not the only, the main example of successful business enterprise among local people.
Yeah. And you want to tell me that, Mr. Wade, these guys never had some, you know, hard time between the two of them, maybe hard, but with whatever mishap or hard time they might have had between them, you ain't hear about it, because they was able to trash it out and continue to build and focus on what their goal was, you know.
Yeah,
and I get them to where they got to, until, you know, I guess, you know, they figure, well, hey, you know, we don't a certain age now, you know, some other young person continue. But, you know, I think if these gentlemen had been recognized, I believe these are two people that we should recognize.
I agree with you. Both men are in their 80s. And I do believe that they have been rewarded or awarded some kind of honor before. I can't recall right now. I can certainly research that. But definitely, they belong in any Hall of Fame in my books. Certainly in the business sector.
Other petition, division.
Yeah, it's hard to find anymore.
Join together and stay together.
A partnership.
The way they did.
Yeah, a successful business partnership among locals
You know,
Really?
until these guys, you know, I think Mr. Kelly would have owned a lot of the McKinley area, and how he had to do it because of what he did before.
Yes.
You know, so
Definitely.
we need to, I think this is what young people need to. These are people young people need to look at.
Yeah, I am honored to be a personal friend of both gentlemen.
From these two gentlemen, you know,
Yeah.
young guys and young.
Okay, you have 10 seconds more because I think we.
All right.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. We have another caller. It will be a final caller for today. Hello? Okay, we lost him. All right, hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're the final caller for today.
They were awarded last year, along with Bridges and a lot of Calypsonians. Star Shield, Socrates, Quite Intention, a lot of them were awarded last year. So those two were awarded last year.
Barker and
I was
Kelly?
at the ceremony.
Barker and Kelly?
Yes, Barker and Kelly.
I was not here, so...
Yes,
I'm
so
not
along with a lot of Calypsonians, even the lady singing Jackie, Star Shield, Socrates, a lot of them.
Oh, really?
This guy, Quite Intention, Adrian Lamb, a lot of young people. But they were awarded last year.
Okay, thank you very much for
You're
that.
welcome.
Thank you very much for that clarification. If I were in St. Kitts last year, I would have known that, but I was in Cuba serving the Federation at the time, and I am not aware of that. But thank you very much for that clarification. So, as I did suggest, but I thought that it would have been before last year, actually. But yes, Mr. Alfonso Barker, Al Barker, and Kenneth Kelly have in fact been rewarded via awards, and we are happy for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of Frank and Candid for today, Monday. We look forward to continuing tomorrow. Until then, do the right thing.
In the top stories, suspects in armed robbery case charged. CXC results to be released on Tuesday. And 75th UN General Assembly to go virtual as COVID-19 keeps world leaders at home. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, September 21st, 2020. I am your presenter, Shaira Flanders. Nationally, the suspects who were apprehended by the police on September 16th in relation to an armed robbery in the Frigate Bay area have been charged for several offenses. According to a statement, Devon Herbert of Verchilds, Vernon Nias, Einan Nias of Greenlands, and Davin Phillip of Westbourne Gut have been jointly charged with 5 counts of robbery, 2 counts of assault with intent to rob, 1 count of conspiracy to commit robbery, 4 counts of possession of firearm, 4 counts of possession of firearm with intent to commit a felony, and 4 counts of possession of ammunition. They received their charges on September 19th and 20th, 2020. A 5th suspect is still being sought in relation to the incident. In other news, the President of the Republic of Cuba, His Excellency Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, joined the long list of world leaders who congratulated St. Kitts and Nevis on its 37th anniversary of independence on Saturday, September 19th, 2020. In a letter to His Excellency S.W. Tapley Seaton, Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, President Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez wrote, quote, on the occasion of the celebration of the 37th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I convey warm congratulations to you and all the people, end quote. President Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez assured Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris that there is a desire to enhance the working relationship between the countries. Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Mark Brantley, also received best wishes from Cuba's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bruno Rodriguez Padilla, who confirmed Cuba's intentions to further strengthen mutual relationships between St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of Cuba. St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of Cuba established diplomatic relations on May 10, 1995. And as we wrap up local news, on September 18, the National Emergency Operations Center, or NEOC press briefing, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws addressed the concerns of many about the safety of the infrared thermometers, noting that they pose no health risk. The Chief Medical Officer informed that the human body emits electromagnetic radiation. She added that most of the radiation emitted from the human body is in the infrared region.
The handheld infrared thermometer basically is utilized to measure the body temperature. And so this is how it works. The body emits the electromagnetic radiation in the form of infrared, and the thermometer uses a lens to focus the light from the human body onto a detector in the machine, right? And this lens is called a thermopile. The thermopile absorbs the infrared radiation, it turns it into heat, and then the infrared thermometer registers the body temperature.
Dr. Laws noted that the infrared thermometer is used to absorb the infrared radiation coming from the human body. The Chief Medical Officer stated that persons are assuming that the thermometer emits radiation when in fact it is the human body that is emitting the radiation picked up by the thermometer. The radiation is transformed into heat and then the thermometer registers the body temperature. She added that the thermometers do not emit infrared light, but are used to measure infrared light to determine the body's temperature.
Some of these non-contact thermometers emit a dim light. It may appear red. And basically, it is utilized by the operator of the infrared thermometer just to make sure that the thermometer is pointed on the forehead and not on your hair or on your eyebrow, etc.
Dr. Laws said that the thin, dim red light is visible but harmless.
So in other words, the light emitted by the thermometer, it's visible, you can see it, however, it's harmless. Please note that this dim red light is not infrared light. It is not a laser beam.
These sensors do not emit infrared light or any other type of electromagnetic beam. We now move to news on the regional scene. The Caribbean Examinations Council, or CXC, has advised that the results of the CXC July 2020 examinations will be released on Tuesday, September 22nd at 5 p.m. In a brief notice on Friday, CXC reminded candidates to have their center number and candidate number on hand to access their results at www.cxc.org/student-results/. The modified exams were held during the months of July and August due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In other news on the regional scene, United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced $5 million in U.S. funding for the regional response to Venezuelan refugees and migrants living in Guyana. Tamika Rodney of HGPTV News filed this report.
United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, in expressing appreciation for Guyana's hospitality towards Venezuelan migrants, revealed the Trump administration's pledge to assist those who fled their country in search of better livelihoods.
The United States has now allocated $5 million to help Venezuelans in Guyana who have had to flee from Venezuela to Guyana to escape the horrors and brutality of the Maduro regime.
Pompeo noted that on the subject of the United States' quest for democracy in Venezuela, Guyana has been a strong supporter. He also revealed that a new agreement was inked which would allow for job opportunities, trade, security, among other things.
We just signed a new agreement under the Growth in Americas initiative. Guyana is the second Caribbean nation to join that agreement. It demonstrates that the United States wants to model the private sector, not state-owned enterprises, because that model, that investment model is superior, will deliver real good things for the people of your country.
Since 2018, Venezuelans have been fleeing their country in droves to Guyana as a result of the prevailing economic and political crises in their country. Some of the refugees are being housed in some of the hinterland regions, namely 1, 2, and 7, while others have made it to the coastland. While Pompeo did not divulge how the fund should be utilized, it is important to note that Venezuelan migrants, primarily females, are increasingly becoming a target for human traffickers. For more than a decade, the United States has imposed sanctions in response to activities of the Venezuelan government and Venezuelan individuals. In response to the authoritarian leadership of Nicolas Maduro, the Trump administration has significantly expanded sanctions. As of August 20, 2020, the Treasury Department has imposed sanctions for more than 150 Venezuelan or Venezuelan-connected individuals, and the State Department has revoked the visas of more than 1,000 individuals and their families. The Trump administration has also imposed sanctions on Venezuela's state oil company Petroleos, the government, and central bank. Tamika Rodney.
On the international scene, the United Nations turned 75 this year, and its annual General Assembly was meant to be big to mark the occasion. But what is usually an event packed with leaders from around the globe will look much different this Tuesday because of the coronavirus pandemic. Al Jazeera's James Bays reports.
The UN is marking its 75th birthday, but there's little mood for celebration. Normally, leaders travel from around the world to New York. This year, none are coming. It's all being done remotely. The General Assembly Hall is often packed in normal years. This time, it will look like this, a strict limit of just one delegate per country.
I have the immense privilege of addressing you today.
President Trump, seen here last year, had toyed with an in-person visit again, but he decided against it, probably because of the lackluster atmosphere. This year, like all the other leaders, he'll be on the big screen only, with speeches played on video. Much of the real diplomatic work is normally done during countless face-to-face meetings, but this year the normally bustling corridors are empty.
We'll do several virtual meetings with heads of state in different areas that are very relevant for us, but we will miss that contact, that personal contact that I believe is very important for diplomacy to be effective.
When we look at the... Ambassador Christoph Heusgen is one of Germany's most senior diplomats. He was Chancellor Merkel's foreign affairs advisor and now serves on the UN Security Council. Ambassador, we're speaking face-to-face, suitably distanced, of course. In your world, diplomacy, most of the meetings now are virtual meetings. What's lost when you don't do things in your world face-to-face?
Diplomacy is about finding solutions, finding compromise. And you don't get that, virtually. You need to talk to the people that have different opinions. You have to be able to sort out compromise. You have to find out where are the red lines. And you cannot do that sitting back home and, on screen. You need these personal meetings.
There's one place that the lack of world leaders at this year's General Assembly will be celebrated, and that's among the population of this city. It means there'll be no closed roads and no traffic jams with armoured convoys on the city's streets. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
Sudan's government is being urged to do more to prevent damage and loss of life from heavy flooding. 500,000 people have been forced from their homes and more than 100 have died. Al Jazeera's Mohamed Ado reports on that story.
There is no let-up in the suffering of Sudan's flood victims. In Sinjar town in southwestern Sudan, entire neighborhoods remain completely cut off. The Haya Shargi neighborhood is only accessible by canoes. Ahmed Abdullah sent his wife and children to a camp for the displaced, but chose to remain behind to guard his flooded house. He is angry at the lack of help.
الاستجابة من الحكومة كانت ضعيفة جدا.
The response from the government has been very weak. For the past 3 years, we've been begging the government to reinforce the flood defenses, but they didn't. We went and spoke to everyone from the local authorities to the national government, and still nothing.
The worst floods for 100 years in Sudan completely destroyed most homes in this neighborhood. The government has defended its response so far, saying that it's been hindered by international economic sanctions, as well as the sharp fall in the Sudanese pound.
Our house was the first one to be flooded in the neighborhood. We were asleep. We could only save our lives. Everything we owned got swept away.
Sudan's rapid deployment forces have sprayed insecticides on pools of stagnant water to kill mosquito larvae. But given how widespread the flooding has been, it's almost impossible for everywhere to be disinfected. The destruction of thousands of pretty latrines by the floods poses a grave danger to the population. UN agencies like UNICEF are now helping the government run emergency health centers to deal with any outbreaks. At one of the numerous camps for the displaced in Sinjar, UNICEF medical staff are immunizing children against measles and other communicable diseases. The healthcare workers say they're doing everything they can to avoid outbreaks.
Scaling up our nutrition surveillance. Now we are conducting more screening to be on standby for any nutrition outbreak, and also to detect early malnutrition cases and to treat them and to refer them if they need further treatment.
The government in recent days issued new alerts to communities living on the banks of the Nile that rains in the highlands of neighboring Ethiopia could lead to flash floods. Sudan's Humanitarian Aid Commission says 650,000 people have been affected since the start of the rains in mid-July. Millions of others are facing hardship as the cost of food and transport soars because of the flood disaster and long-running economic turmoil in Sudan. Mohammed Adu, Al Jazeera, Sinjar in southwestern Sudan.
And now for the weather. Present weather shows cloudy skies with winds moving from the south at 7 to 15 miles per hour. Today's temperature will peak at 28 degrees Celsius, that's 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are reaching 3 to 4 feet. Expect cloudy skies at times with a 50% or moderate chance of showers today, and partly cloudy skies with a 30% or low chance of showers tonight. Sunset today will be at 6:07 p.m. and the sun is expected to rise tomorrow at 5:59 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your presenter, Shaira Flanders. Have a good one.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us on the web at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises 466-9595.
This feeling makes me feel nice. 11 blends of herb and spice.
We all know that KFC is the #1 place for the tastiest chicken. But did you know that we just added salads to our menu? Yes! Chicken salad, available in original or spicy, or the garden salad. Watching the figure? Working out? Come to KFC today and check out our healthier option. Chicken salad $25, garden salad $20. KFC, finger licking good.
We're dependable, so reliable. We're efficient and economical. We're the leader, serving you faithfully. You can
Good day. Welcome to another presentation of ZIZ Sport for today, Monday. I am Theo Clark reporting. First up, we go to cricket. The West Indies ladies are scheduled to take on the English ladies at 1 o'clock in the first of 5 T20 internationals. In the meantime, Natalie Seaver describes the West Indies a threat the West Indies will bring to England, and England cannot take the West Indies lightly.
We can never take the West Indian team lightly, really. They've got people who can change the game all the way down the order with the bat, and once they get a few wickets in a row, they just squeeze you and make it really difficult for you as a team. So, yeah, they're a great opposition and one that you can't take lightly at all. And I guess as a team, we've got to be ruthless right until the end. Yeah, I think the mindset, I guess it depends when I go in, really. In the World Cup, I was in quite early, quite a lot of the time. So then it was more about trying to swing the momentum back in our favour. But hopefully, if there is a partnership that's happened before I get out there, I can continue that momentum and don't let the team have a sniff, really. I think it's more about going through the gears at the right time, knowing if there's a bowler that we have looked at as being one to try and hit some more boundaries against, or if there's an end with the wind, or slightly shorter, things like that. Just a little bit more tactical with that sort of thing, but just keep working in partnership with whoever's out there.
So you can check out West Indies ladies versus the English ladies in the first T20 International this afternoon at 1 o'clock. We now go to football on the local scene. The St. Kitts Nevis Football Association Division 1 League is scheduled to start tomorrow, Tuesday, the 22nd of September. We have two matches coming up tomorrow. First up at 5:30 in the afternoon, it will be Electrofab Sandy Point versus Molyneux at the Kim Collins Stadium. That will be followed at 7:30 in the evening, Newton Ground versus Trans Global Engineering Date Bay Eagles at the Kim Collins Stadium. Then on Wednesday at 5:30 in the afternoon, KFC Trinity Challengers United will take on the Davis Construction Lodge Patriots at Warner Park. Meanwhile, the Premier Division is scheduled to start this weekend. On Saturday, the 26th of September, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Elcor Limited Security Forces will come up against SL Hospital St. Paul's at Warner Park. And at 7 o'clock in the evening on Saturday, it will be Trafalgar South Stars versus Rams Village Superstars at Warner Park. Sunday, the 27th, 4 o'clock in the afternoon at Warner Park, KFC United Oilwood Jets will take on Sal Island Otter Connery. And at 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday, the 27th, it will be Fast Cash Saddlers United versus Esquive Newtown United. All matches will be played at Warner Park. Now we go to the English Premier League, and yesterday it was Chelsea versus Liverpool at Stamford Bridge in London. And Liverpool came out the winner 2-0.
Alexis Yunus alongside Mark Ogden, live and in the flesh. First time I'm seeing you, Augie, in ages, and it was for a big one in the Premier League tonight. It was Chelsea hosting the champions Liverpool. And Augie, even though you predicted that, we felt like Chelsea could definitely win this one. It went Liverpool's way. And Augie, I want to know why. What went wrong for Chelsea? Because like I said, exciting squad with all the new signings. Everyone kind of just expected it to click. But Liverpool clearly exposed some cracks in the armour.
Yeah, I think the first thing that went wrong was that they had a red card in the first half. With Christensen was sent off quite rightly after a VAR review, and from that point on, 10 men against the champions, you got no chance. And what made it worse was the fact that Liverpool put Thiago on in the second half, and he just created pass after pass, space after space, and Chelsea made mistakes. And the biggest one was probably Kepa for the second goal. So it's just been a bad day for Chelsea. Individual errors cost them a big game.
And you did say big mistakes. Kepa again. Mistakes and Kepa seem to have been going together like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it sounds harsh to say, but Augie, there's only so much that Chelsea can continue to risk with Kepa Arrizabalaga. I know Frank Lampard has come to his defense recently as well. Did he today afterwards in some of the presses that you probably must have heard?
Not really, no. He he was asked about the mistake and he said it was a big mistake, it was a clear mistake, and then he kind of mitigated it by saying that we have to look after Kepa and, you know, make sure his confidence is fine. But I think Chelsea are going to